Good morning and welcome to the Being Your Own CEO Success Circle. This morning we are going to talk about accountability. And I also know that we're going to be missing a couple of people this morning. Fred is traveling the world right now, so we won't see him. And Alana texted a little while ago and said she's having bandwidth problems. So, and I might say that we're having problems here, aren't we, Paul and Sarah? We had a snowstorm. Anyway, we won't complain about that. Because it usually doesn't, the snow doesn't last very long here. So the first thing we usually do is introduce ourselves. And I usually try to go in the order in which people arrived. So, Vivek, you're it.
Namaste. My name is Vivekananda. Literally, it means wisdom and happiness. I am proud to share my belief with Steve Jobs and Leonardo da Vinci, who said simplicity is the ultimate in sophistication. I aim to bring time-tested wisdom and happiness together into your business and life by unifying, simplifying, and amplifying simple technology and tools. I achieve this by developing software as necessary. Together at Wake, we wake up our potential. So that's my introduction. LowellAnn, you were talking about the weather. Here, the weather is not so bad. It has turned cold, but not cold as much cold as you have. For me, it is still feels cold. It says 11 degrees outside on the positive side, of course. It has been a sunny day today. So now it's, of course, 5 o'clock in the evening. So I think most of us have moved our clocks back to the we are no longer using the daylight saving time. So
This is true. We all have. Yeah,
that's me.
Right on. So welcome, Vivek. Nice to see you here. Javita, how would you like to introduce yourself?
Hello everyone, I'm Jivita from ReikiAmazes.com. I am a Reiki master teacher and I help people to in their healing procedure. And in India, I'm from Mumbai, so weather in Mumbai is quite as usual. It's not too hot, too cold. It's 28 degrees Celsius, and it's fun here.
Yeah, right on. Yeah, so 28 degrees sounds quite warm right now.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm glad you came. And Sarah, I think you were next.
Yes, good morning, everyone. I'm Sarah from Piece of Cake Communications in Victoria, BC. I show people how to become confident and effective communicators. As LowellAnn said, the weather is very chilly, and yesterday was particularly bone chilling, and I was stuck outside for several hours trying to get a task done. So I'm cursing winter today. I hope it leaves quickly, and I always pray when we get snow that we're going to get some hot rain to wipe it all away, but so far it hasn't come.
Right.
Thank you.
Yeah. Nice to see you again, Sarah. Right on. Paul, I think you were next. You are muted, Paul.
Let's try that again. Good morning, everybody. My company is called TTG International Management, and all businesses go on a journey, and during that journey, they come to forks in the road. Sometimes they need a little help figuring out which fork to take, or which mountain to climb, or which stream to go around. And sometimes they also need some help with the heavy lifting. And so that's what we do. We're kind of the Sherpas for your business. We're there when you need us.
Right on. So Paul is in my neighborhood, so
In the hood.
yes, in the hood. Right on. Welcome here, Paul.
Yeah, thank you, LowellAnn.
Nathan, I think you were next.
Got on mute. Am I unmuted now? I think I am.
Yeah, you are.
Okay. Yeah, okay. My name is Nathan Siegel. I did live in Victoria many, many moons ago. I currently live in a little town called Ajijic on the shore of Lake Chapala in Mexico. My thing is list building. I help people build profitable lists with email marketing, internet marketing techniques.
Right on. Well, we know that it's much warmer there than it is here right now. So.
It's about 24 degrees.
Yeah.
It's very nice.
Yes, yes. Oh, well.
Well, you're in Canada. What do you expect?
I know. But we're in the warmest place in Canada. So.
That doesn't mean much, as you know.
Oh, well, we're not complaining. So, are we, Matthew? How would you like to introduce yourself?
Good morning. It's been a while since I've seen some of you. Lots of faces I recognize. Good to see you all, and people that I haven't seen for quite some time. Sarah, I don't think I've met you before, or Javita, hello. I've heard of you, but I haven't seen you. Yeah, so it's snowy outside, and my dogs want to come in. They're a little cold, so I'm going to let them in a second. My children are delighted. They're going like, Dad, it's a snow day, no school. I'm saying, I'm sorry, but the buses are running. You're going to school. They started off at school with their sleds in tow, and whether I'll see those sleds again or not, it's anybody's guess. But they're super happy. They love the snow.
Oh, yeah.
Love, love, love. So, I can't be too curmudgeonly about it. I have to share their enthusiasm. Anyway, I'm Matthew Powell. I run Coastline Marketing. We serve realtors, construction projects, and trades that support, as well as we serve businesses that serve older adults in our community. And it's been a while since I've been able to be here, so delightful to be back.
I'm happy you were able to make it back, and I still want to find out more about your bicycle trip around Europe.
Well, it wasn't around Europe. It was just in Italy to Austria, then back to Italy down to Grado. So we started in northeastern Italy, and we went down to that part of the coast, which is close to Trieste and not too far from the city of romance, Venice.
Oh, yeah.
Which I actually went and saw, which is amazing. But
Right.
without my wife, so it wasn't so amazing.
Right. Right. Well, I was she was posting things on Facebook, so we knew you were traveling without luggage.
Well, yeah. Yeah. Finally caught up to me. My daughter called me 5 hours before I was to get home and said, "Oh, Dad, your luggage finally got home." So it beat me back to Canada. But yeah, it was sans luggage for the whole trip, and it was difficult to find simple things.
I bet.
I ended up having to use my sink as a washing machine pretty much every night.
Right. Right.
Anyway, I made it.
Right on. So I'm glad you're here. So I will finish us off with we've been trying to practice our elevator pitches, so I will do mine. I love supporting retired third agers who are experiencing overwhelm, uncertainty, and procrastination as they take the first steps toward creating their online business. With my solopreneur coaching service, you can choose the level of support that makes the most sense to you. Done by you, done with you, or done for you. To find out more, visit my website, LowellAnn.com. Well, now, how many of you know what we're going to talk about this morning? Well, I can't honestly tell you what raised this topic in my mind, but we're going to talk about how to hold yourself accountable. So, and I have to sort of give you a little bit of a sort of a backgrounder here. Usually, when we're doing something, we use not spreadsheets, slides. We do a slide presentation, which is kind of an easy way to give a presentation, because the slides have speaker notes and so forth. It's Google Slides are perfect for that. For some reason or other, I was playing around with a MindMap system this week, and it was probably because Steve Dotto's been yakking about MindMeister. So I went to MindMeister and started playing with it, and decided, okay, why don't I just do a brainstorm? I was trying to think of what could I use this for. So I thought, well, I'll just do a brainstorm about how to hold yourself accountable. So that's what you're going to see this morning. So Vivek is going to share his screen just because it makes it simpler to do it that way. And this is really not a presentation. It's just a sort of a brainstorm of some concepts and ideas that came to my mind, and some of the things that I've been looking at and playing with this week. So, are you able to share the screen, Vivek?
Yeah, just a minute. I need to.
So while Vivek is doing that, I stumbled on a book that was recommended by somebody. There it is. Thank you, Vivek. And one of these, by the way, the book is called The Ultimate Sales Machine by Chet Holmes. It is probably not a very appropriate for solopreneurs. It seems to be related to organizations more than solopreneurs. But some of the terminology was that he uses was kind of neat, and so it seemed to be appropriate to kind of share this one. When we're talking about how to hold yourself accountable, he talks about pig-headed determination and discipline and hard work. And I thought, well, that relates. I think he has a workbook of some sort, and because I used to do organizational facilitation, it's been kind of fun to listen and review all this stuff. But what came up for me,
I'm trying to zoom. I don't think people can read any of this.
Yeah. Well, it's pretty small. Yeah. Well, I can see mine. How did I zoom it out? I don't know. It's all right, Vivek. We'll just go for it, because I'm not going to go ahead and read all this stuff anyway. But okay. I thought you might all enjoy seeing this MindMeister. By the way, MindMeister is very expensive. So if you want to do one, I think you're allowed to do one or two free mind maps, and you can't download it, you can't print it, you can't do anything unless you upgrade to their premium. So anyway, but it was kind of fun to give it a try. I'm not sure that I would recommend it to anyone. I know Dotto loves it, and he's figured out how to do everything, and of course he's got the big premium version. But anyway, so with pig-headed determination, let's move on here. So one of the things that I really wanted to start off with was why do we want to do this? And knowing full well that Vivek would never be satisfied if we didn't start off with the why. So why we would want to hold ourselves accountable, I think is pretty obvious. Well, we're going to accomplish things for sure. But as we accomplish things, I guess our self-confidence increases. And if we've got a lot of stuff that needs to get done and we hold ourselves accountable to do it, then we're probably going to experience a whole lot less stress. So the next item I sort of talked about and thought about, well, what if I don't know how to do it? Well, where would you go to find advice? And I guess you can get advice about this from just about anybody. So I listed colleagues and friends and a coach. And we've lost, there it is. It's much bigger. How did you do that? So, there are lots of people who have stumbled on ways to get things done for themselves, etc. So, never discount the advice of other people. But the next one, find an accountability partner. Well, I mean, a success circle like this sometimes, or with a colleague. Now, years ago in my early coaching days, I used to stage accountability sessions and we did it through a telephone system at that time. Well, that tells you how long ago that was being done. But what we did was we found a way to bring everybody into a conference call. Everybody said what it was that they needed to get done today. And then we went away and worked on it for an hour. And then you came back and everybody said, well, this is, we went around the table again, the imaginary table, and everybody said, well, this is how far I got. And so we checked in every hour with each other, provided encouragement for one another, etc. And I don't think I ever hosted one of those when people didn't come back and say, yay, I got it done. So, and it was usually something that each one of those people didn't like doing, didn't know how to do, felt like they had to do. So that was kind of a fun thing. But I would also add to that find accountability partner. I would also add a coach there as well, because as a business and career coach, I certainly helped people develop their own personal accountability skills in my coaching work. So I probably should have added coach to that item as well. But moving on to the next thing, it seems that when we write things down, we're more apt to do things, because if we don't write it down, it slides away and other things get in the way. So that was the next thing that I felt that it was really important that you write things down. And so you might have a long range goal, but then you might have some milestones in between. So there might be a number of things that need to be done before the big thing gets done. So to be able to identify those things and to add, put some deadlines. And then, of course, to schedule that work in your calendar. So that was sort of, getting really organized and putting things in place that are going to help you stay focused. So then I started thinking about the environment, and there's so many people now who are working from home, and all of we solo entrepreneurs are working from home. So it seemed important to be able to set the environment, and things like close the door, turn off the phone, and develop a positive mindset. You're not going to accomplish anything unless you're working within a positive mindset. So those were some of the preparational things. Now, Vivek, as I was thinking about all of this morning, I thought, I probably should have put the green one at the very top. Because, one of the things that happens when we need to hold ourselves accountable is that we fall into procrastination. And so I thought, I certainly know that I've done lots of procrastination, and I wondered about the rest of the group here. What happens, what's going on when you're procrastinating, or do you procrastinate? What happens?
Procrastination, as far as I can understand, it happens because you are trying to do something which you don't want to do.
Yeah. Or you don't know how to do.
How to do, probably you'll still find a way. You ask somebody or something like that. But most of the time it's something which you don't want to do. Or maybe you are afraid of the result of what you do. Say, for example, if you are employed somewhere and you want a promotion, one of the risks you are taking will be, once you get the promotion, you probably will be doing a lot more work or do things differently. And so probably, if that's the case, if you are afraid of those things, then you probably don't want to get the promotion on. You don't really want it, but you want it.
Yeah, but I think fear is a big part of procrastination as well. Yeah. Anybody else? What do the rest of you experience or know about procrastination in yourself? Anybody? I can't see everybody in my screen here.
I can go, LowellAnn, it's Sarah.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, so when I procrastinate, I find that, there's a reason behind it, right? There's either not knowing what to do or being uncomfortable with what I have to do or worried about what will happen after I do it. But one of the things that I try to do is I try to think in more small steps. So, one small thing I can do to improve that. And sometimes, I'm thinking about that when I'm between appointments. And I just get out my phone and I just go into my memo and I just start thinking, what's one small thing that I can do to work toward that? And I mean really small steps, like finding the phone number I have to call to get more information, or, you know, stamping an envelope. Because once I've stamped it, if I have to mail a letter of some sort, once I've taken an envelope and put a stamp on it, I will not waste it. I will get it done, but try to get me to actually go upstairs and get the envelope and address it. But I will not waste money from if I've stamped something already. So one small step, and I do find that once I take that small step, I end up doing the task in the end, because it's kind of like running. I don't love running, but if I have to put my shoes on and then my gym clothes, that seems like a lot. But if I just start off by putting on my track pants, then the motivation's already there. Mm-hmm. But I find that one tiny step, yeah. And celebrating, if even that's all I do. But what I find is I attempt to do the small step, and then the task suddenly gets done because I realize it's not so big.
Taking action. Yeah, right on.
I think there that celebrate completion probably is more important when, I think.
Yeah.
Probably, maybe in taking on Sarah's example, you put a stamp on the envelope, probably you should celebrate.
Yeah.
Yay, I'm going to post it now.
Yeah. Well, and so you can see in my list there's a number of ways that we can recognize that we are procrastinating. It's pretty easy, and the last one there, checking your social media on phone, that seems to be the one that yeah. So in these days, it's if you want to get something done, it might mean that you need to turn off your phone. I've noticed that a lot of there's a lot of updates in various email programs, etc. now, where there seems to be a built-in way to turn everything off so you can get things done. So I think there's there seems to be a universal recognition that all this social media stuff and our phones and everything are a huge distraction for almost everybody.
The phones, I see on the phone there is a focus mode, it's called.
Oh yeah.
You set that focus mode, then at least I have not tried it yet. Mm-hmm. But I think it means that all the notifications from social media and so on will be just not be shown to you, so that you are not distracted. I think that's the idea there.
And having said that, did you mention that you just got a new Pixel 7?
Yes.
Yes.
New Pixel 7 Pro.
I am jealous. Okay, so just to go back to our mind map here, you can see at the top there. Yes, if we get into the real mode of doing things, I have a tendency to sit there and just work on it, and without taking care. And first thing you know, when I get up to go to the washroom or get a glass of water or something, I'm as stiff as a board because I've been sitting and sitting. So I decided that a bit of self-care was really important in this whole accountability process as well. So getting up and having a coffee, taking a break, taking a walk, and recognizing that a lot has been accomplished up to now. So acknowledging that we're making progress. That's, I think, is a really important to do. Psychologically, I think for all of us, we need to feel as though we're making progress. Okay, so now we go down to the purple one. This is what quite often what happens. We get unexpected things happen. Somebody phones that you really feel like you need to speak to, or I don't know, something goes on in the family, or somebody comes and knocks on your door. That happens to me frequently. Somebody knocks on my door and I have to stop and do whatever. And so this is going to take me back to dealing with the unexpected. In this chap's book that I mentioned earlier, he has a section on time management, which gosh, it's years since I took a time management course. Years and years. I hate to tell you how many years ago. But so it was kind of neat to hear what he had to say. But I thought it was important for us to recognize within that whole time management thing is that when we said schedule things in the calendar, to build into our calendars, so being accountable and doing something, that's a proactive task. We are generating and doing it, but there are reactive things that we have to deal with. And in that time management piece that I listened to, he emphasized the importance of recognizing that if you are in business, you've got to do both. And so it's important to build into your day chunks of time to deal with those reactive things as well. So that was a bit of an upgrade for me from the old time management days. I mean, there were lots of other things in there, like only touch things once. If it came into your inbox, deal with it, get rid of it, sort of. And there's a bunch of other things there that were a good review. But that whole reactive and proactive, I thought was kind of neat. So that, as having said that, going back to dealing with the unexpected, if something unexpected happens, then I guess it's important to sort of have in the back of your mind a plan B. So what are you going to do? How are you going to deal with that? And sometimes a plan B for me is something has just come up. It means maybe I have to decide I got to work a few hours on Saturday to make up for what I, needed to do. That's just the way the cookie crumbles, I guess. Anyway, and as you can see at the very bottom there, celebrating completion. If you finish something, really, really find some way to celebrate it. And then, of course, we move on to the next thing and we start all over again. So that's my brainstorm about holding yourself accountable. But I would love to hear from the rest of you. What do you do to hold yourself accountable? How do you make that happen? Matthew?
Yeah, thanks, LowellAnn. This is a great conversation. It's something that has been close to my heart for a while because I suffered professionally for some time because I'm so enthusiastic I'd take on too much and I wouldn't be able to complete in a satisfactory way. So I took on a personal coach, Vic Lindahl, who's in town here, and he's helped me to see what I'm doing. One of them things was perfection, which was part of procrastination. Sometimes just getting it done and talking to people instead of waiting for perfection is better. But I wanted to talk briefly about how to deal with interruptions, because I have a lot of them. Working at home with
Because
kids.
you're working at home with kids,
Yeah,
right?
yeah. And it took a lot of my time for quite some time of my life over the last 5 years, taking care of my mom, my kids. So one of the things about dealing with unexpected interruptions is having a mindset in advance. And my coach calls it set time, set place, set agenda. So you treat it as sacred. You set the time, you set the place, you set the agenda, and you really focus on making sure your quadrant 2 activities, which of course is, you all know what quadrant 2 is from Stephen Covey, which is the important but not urgent, right? You need to keep moving those things forward. So having a set time, set place, set agenda is important, because it's the way you basically check in on yourself and make sure that you get it done. It really doesn't matter that, how much you get done or what have you, but you just have to have that set time. You were referring to, I think, a book called Getting Things Done by David Allen, who definitely espouses the fact that, you should try to touch things once and then leave it, decide what to do with it right away, rather than, I was dealing with things 3, 4, 5 times before I was actually getting some finality out of it. And I just want to end with one thing. I don't know if you know this, but Napoleon Bonaparte, he did not answer his email for 2 weeks, usually, at least 2 weeks, because he felt that if he didn't answer a mail, that most of the unimportant stuff would resolve itself. I think he only searched out his letters from Justine, but the rest of it he left for a couple weeks, and most of those issues, most of those emergencies went away. And us being of servant hearts, we are all servant hearts. We want to help people right away, but sometimes it's more efficient to just sort of let people figure it out.
Very good advice. Very, very good advice. Well, I have to admit, I really like that touch things once, because boy, that I'm a firm believer of inbox 0. I have at the end of sometime in the week, all of my inbox is at 0. Yeah. And it either gets archived or deleted or dealt with. And if it's dealt with, it gets saved where I might be able to find it in case I need to look for an answer or whatever. But yeah. Inbox 0 is just a really, really good thing to aim for. Yeah. Anybody else? Paul, what about you? What how do you keep yourself accountable?
Well, first of all, as a professional procrastinator, I'd just like to talk to the positive side of procrastination. And that is quite often when you if you put things off long enough, it doesn't have any importance. So just saying that. To speak to another thing, I've got a very quick airline story about procrastination. I used to, when I was in the airline business, travel to all of the bases that we had and work at all the bases that we had in the BC district area. And I noticed that we used to get an awful lot of reports that head office asked for. So as I traveled around, I talked to my fellow base managers, and we picked one report every month, and none of us did it. I got a call from my boss about 6 months later, and he said, "Murray, what the hell have you been doing with all of the people? I just got a call from accounting. None of you guys have put the report in for 6 months." I said, "Why do they need the report?" He said, "Okay, fair point." So often things get put into place and we do them, but we don't go back and reflect on them. So that's one thing. I'll tell you another quick airline story is you talk about Plan B. Mm-hmm. Used to walk in at 6 o'clock in the morning, look at the operations board and laugh, because that's where Plan A was, but you were never going to get to Plan A that day. So you always had to have a Plan B and a Plan C. And interestingly enough, often Plan Bs come out a little better than Plan As because a bunch of stuff gets eliminated.
I agree with that. Yeah, you're gonna simplify it incredibly. Yeah.
Yeah. And one other thing I'd like to pass on from one of our local friends, Mr. Vardy. Uh,
Oh
he
yeah.
talks about in his time crafting, he talks about blocking. And
Yeah.
I do a fair amount of mentoring with startups, and I think blocking really works well, where you pick a particular time to do things that you know have to be done, and anything that comes in related to that, you just slot it to that time, and then you spend that, whatever it is, 10 or 15 minutes that you set aside doing it, because you focus on it for that time and you get it out of the way the rest
Yeah.
of the time. So that's about all I got to say today.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry, one other thing. Get a mentor.
Yeah.
Yeah, coaches. I understand coaching. Coaching is great, but also get a couple of mentors as well.
Yeah, and I hope everybody understands the difference between a coach and a
What is the
mentor.
difference? Yeah, what is the difference?
Well, a coach is a paid person, and normally in the coaching work, there's an appointment, a specific time. You meet once a week, and you work on specific things together. But a mentor is a person who has already figured it out and cares enough about other people and is willing to sort of get together and help be there to answer questions and sometimes even work together with. Yeah. It's usually not a paid service. It's just because as we get older and wiser, sometimes it's nice to share what we know, right? But Paul, I think it's important for us to go back. You said something about we simplified things, and when we're putting together that goal and all the steps and all of that, it really is important to try to remember to keep it as simple as possible. The more details and all that stuff you get into, the weeds and you never get out. Yeah.
It always helps to keep the why in mind. Why are you doing what you are trying to do? So when you know about why you're doing it, then you try to achieve that goal, task, whatever, as simply as possible with the least amount of trouble and so on. So.
Oh, Javita disappeared. I was going to ask her what her techniques were. So, holding ourselves accountable and figuring out, oh, there you are. Javita, do you have any, how do you stay accountable to yourself?
Actually, when I started with Wealthy Affiliate, as you know, means I didn't have any idea about how to handle business and how to cope up with all these things. But luckily, Jay taught me a lot of things when I take coaching from him, and he gave me a proper idea how to do all the things. That time we were working on my website about affiliate marketing, and he taught me a lot of things. How to that time I writing a post daily. Actually I am posting 7 posts on 7 days. That was he taught me so much discipline about writing post and publishing post and how to post on social media and all these things. So in that sense, I'm following him.
So boiling that down is get a coach. I can relate to that. But sometimes the coach needs some coaching as well, and that happens frequently, and the coach quite often needs a mentor. So Ollie's good piece of advice. Yeah. So, but it really is important to, I think if the more organized we are, the more more accountable we can be to ourselves and to our clients, both. Yeah. So, any parting? We don't have Fred here to give us parting words. Our friend Fred is traveling the world right now. So sorry, Paul, you were waving.
Yeah, just before we go, I wanted to talk a little bit very quickly about mind mapping.
Mm-hmm.
I find it very useful, also in presentations and when you're organizing thoughts in groups, particularly.
Mm-hmm.
And most mind maps now, after you mind map, they will take the programs. You can turn that into a management system for everything that you mind map, just like a Trello board or things like that. So if you're interested in that stuff, play around with them. There's a number of them out there. Most of them have some sort of free thing to get started with. But a lot of people
which one do you use?
I use MindDoodle.
MindDoodle.
Yeah.
Okay.
I've used a lot of them. Whenever I see a new one, I usually play around with it just to see what it's like. But a lot of people are visual learners.
Yes.
And so it just helps them organize their thoughts a lot better.
Mm-hmm.
And often you'll go into offices and see whole walls that are whiteboards. Mm-hmm. And the office has their map up of where they're going, and when people get ideas, they just put it up, and it's a useful tool for sure.
Yeah. Some of them are easier to use than others, more intuitive to use. I think the easiest one that I've discovered, and it's free, it's called Bubble. Bubble.us. And I think I got that one from Jay. Jay quite often uses that in his presentations. Yeah. But then the one that it was started in the UK, Vivek, can you remember what it was called? MindMapper, was it?
Yeah, it was called MindMap.
Or MindMapper.
MindMap.
Oh, okay. That one, I used that for quite a few years but sometimes the simpler it is, the easier it is to use.
Yeah, they have added so many features and complicated the whole thing. And I think Tony Buzan, who started the whole thing, is no more. I think he's not. I mean, he passed away. I think.
Yeah.
Yeah. And the company was taken over by somebody else, and they are adding features, but it's no longer as easy and simple to use as it used to be. So now you start the program, it throws at you a million options, and you get lost in the software itself.
Yeah.
So rather than using the software to achieve something, you struggle to use the software, which is pointless.
You're not saving yourself any time or whatever. Yeah, that's true. I did read
spend more time in the software than on the problem.
Yeah.
Yes. I did read or hear that there is a mind mapping aspect of Canva. I have not checked it out as yet. I don't know if anybody else has. Yeah. Anyway, yes, I couldn't agree more. I mean, it certainly is a great way to organize your thinking and I mean with the mind mapping programs. I mean, if I hadn't done what I did, we could have changed the order in which all of those things were presented there, because I suddenly realized it might make more sense to talk about procrastinating before whatever. And but I got to tell you, I cheated. So when I went into MindMeister, you're allowed 1 or 2, I think, as part of the free program. And the free program does not allow you to print it, does not allow you to download it, does not allow you to do anything with it. So I just blew it up and did
Screen capture.
a screen capture and pasted it into a Google Doc, and there we are. So, but unfortunately, I wasn't able to rearrange things the way I wanted to. So
That would have been Plan B, right?
yeah, exactly. So I think we pretty well exhausted. Go.
Yeah, one thing about the why mind map is useful is, I mean, Paul mentioned many people are not, that many people are visual thinkers. It's not necessary that one has to be a visual thinker. The idea with the mind map is that you put something there, you end up using the entire brain of yours, not just the left part or the right part.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right part
Yeah.
talks about the visual aspects, the creativity, colors, and all that. Left part is concerned about the logic. Is it possible to do? Is this what we have been doing so far? Are we familiar with doing these things? All those things are part of the left part of the brain. When you put something as a picture and colors and all that, the right part of your brain wakes up and, this looks interesting.
Yeah. Yeah.
If you don't, then your right part of the brain sleeps and you end up with half of your brain.
Good point. Good point.
The idea is using the entire brain to...
Yeah. Left brain, right brain. All in one place. Yeah. Yay! Is that your parting comment, or does anyone have a parting comment? In other words, we've exhausted the topic. So, but I do, just before I remind everybody, next, in 2 weeks' time, not next week, in 2 weeks' time, I had put down that we're going to talk about documenting your processes with Scribe. It's an application that I really wanted to explore. So the best way for me to discover how something works is to say we're going to talk about it here. So talk about my accountability process. Now, I didn't add that to my list. I should add that to the mind map. Plan to do a presentation on it. Anyway, I do thank you all for joining and offering your own techniques. And I just want to remind everyone that it is important to do what you love with passion. And we will see you in 2 weeks' time. And I will do my outro, which is Alt 4.